Hello and welcome to the Track Racer GT series live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Daniel Lee, Scott Newton operating the cameras, and we are back for another sprint race in this Track Racer GT series, the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Championship. And tonight, Daniel, we are at Okayama. This is one that I am very fond of. We weren't visiting this place much a few months ago. In the last couple of months, we've visited this place a lot. So I'm very pleased, of course, host of the Pacific Grand Prix in, I believe, 95 and 96. But it's still a lot of fun in these GT cars as well.
Yeah, good evening, Sam, and everyone tuning in. Great to have you back for another round of the championship. I don't mind this circuit. It's a good bit of fun. It really is a good driver's circuit. There's a lot of point-and-shoot corners. We see the guys just on shot getting through the couple of the hairpins there, but it's going to offer up some really good racing. I think there's some really interesting corners that the guys can try and make the most of down through turn one and through the infield section, but it'll be interesting to see how this goes. We've already heard some interesting thoughts about the setup for the car as well, which we'll touch on a little bit later as well.
Of course, you also like seeping, so I wouldn't say that your opinion counts too much when it comes to race circuits, but there you go, consensus amongst the commentators, at least for once. We are currently in the practice session. Qualifying has already taken place, and we do believe Ross Rizzo has taken another pole position. Didn't take pole position last time out. Craig Edwards took pole position, but just about one out at Motegi, and that was a great race last time out, Daniel, at Motegi. That was one of my favourite races in this AMF GT series. It was so close. We knew that it was going to be close at their second pit stop, and we had Rizzo come out of the pits approximately half a second ahead of Craig Edwards. It was incredibly tight. That pretty much decided who won the race, and was a very well-earned victory for Rizzo, despite the fact that Edwards really did nothing wrong all race long.
Yeah, Craig really got on top of the setup in the C8. We know that car has struggled a little bit through the course of the championship, but drove a fantastic run, kept the car towards the pointy end. I think it was just that little bit of an overfill through the pit stops on the second one time through the lane that ultimately cost him that, what would have been a change of a different team taking over the podium. So that being said, he's only a couple of seconds off the pace, so not to be too shabby there. He's looking pretty handy out there tonight. It's similar to his teammate Nathan Huppert's in a really good spot early on, but boys got to push.
Yeah, they'll be dangerous, of course, but remember, Trak Esports with a 100% winning record so far this season. They have been very tricky to beat Rizzo with the vast majority of those race wins. He's closing in on the championship, always reluctant to call the championship early. Once waits until a few more of the results come in. Of course, the final rounds can be dropped. In fact, you get one sprint round which can be dropped and one endurance meeting which can be dropped, I believe. And so, as long as Rizzo gets to the last round of the championship with a good run of results, you will have that drop score available and we'll be able to call the championship. So we probably won't call it until the penultimate round of the series in a couple of weeks' time. For now, it is still alive because if Rizzo does have a couple of DNFs, then Edwards could just about bring himself back into contention. Big thanks to Trak Racer for sponsoring this series. Refined Gaming is Trak Racer, and if you're looking to upgrade your rig, if you're looking to get a new cockpit, or new wheelbase, new monitor stands, Trak Racer is the place to go. So if you're looking for any of that hardware, equipment stuff for sim racing, Trak Racer is the place to go. Big thanks to them for sponsoring the championship, and big thanks to Okayama as well. Height and safety rigging equipment is Okayama. So if you're looking to do some DIY, or if you've got a business which is looking for some heights or safety equipment, check out Okayama. Big thanks to them for sponsoring this and the AOSE Super Series. We have just got a couple more moments to go in the practice session, and in fact we are just taking over to the race. 45-minute race tonight. We're back to the sprint rounds. It's not the 1.5 hours, and we will just get the last few corners of this circuit before we get underway and under green flag conditions. And so the grid for this round of the championship, it is Ross Rizzo on top, Simon Nicholson. He's been superb in qualifying. Got a locked out the front row, didn't they, at Indianapolis, I believe, to the XRC Racing drivers. But Nicholson's done well today as well. In second place, then it's Craig Edwards. Needs to have a good start from there. Martin Crisp lines up in fourth. And it's Michael Healy, Byron Phillips, Nathan Huppertz, Tom Hagen, Steve Janssen, James Glasspool, Trent Thomas, Chris Weitzel, rounding out the top 12. Behind that, it says Scott Cisnowski, Christopher Hughes is top of the rookie drivers, that's indicated by the red. Then it's Martin Silvassi, Blake Delaney, Jordan Cullis, Amanda Dalton, John Puce, Jason Bentz, Aaron Specchio, Jesse Butler, Shane Bowen, Michael Whiting, Dale Braid, Robert Christel, Luke Pink, Nicholas Garoich, Paul Rourke, Jamie Dyke, and Chris Pellet. 31 cars out there, so a slightly diminished field, but we got, I think, 62 qualifiers. So that's why we've got slightly fewer drivers. And so we had to split the order because this is because I don't think you can get that many cars on the track. Plus, of course, the admins as well, who will be dishing out the live race penalties and yeah, maybe deploying a safety car if it is necessary. So here comes Rizzo then, round the final corner. He has got control of the order and he pulls away from the rest of the field. 4 GTs pull away and it's Ross Rizzo leading, going into turn 1 at Okayama. Byron Phillips up a place past Michael Healy already, but the top 2 were already in single file, 3 wide a bit further back. As Phillips and Healy continue to go alongside for 5th and 6th positions. And it is actually Healy, apologies, it's Phillips who's been able to get the advantage there. So that is important for him and important for Trak Esports. In the background, we've got a spin around. Is that Janssen, perhaps? No, Janssen's got through fine, but we've got a Porsche in the middle of the circuit. And Jazz having to take evasive action. That's Jesse Butler and Robert Christel, Jamie Dyke as well, all having issues on this first tour of the circuit.
Yeah, it looks like we also had a couple of issues there for Jason Bentz and John Puce also getting amongst it in turn 1 as well. So those guys starting to recover and that will help them get back into it. There's another car off at the exit there. That's unfortunately Nathan Huppertz there. He's been rotated around in the C8, so he's going to drop to the back of the pack, waiting for everyone to get back through on him.
Massive shame for Huppertz, down to 26th, so he lost the best part of 20 places right there. To get a replay of that sometime, whether he was tapped around, he must have been tapped around with the way that car was acting, as Scott Newton doing a good job finding the replay, and this is how it happened. So actually, I don't think he did get hit. He was by himself. He must have tipped the wheel onto the grass actually, and just sliding it round, and then having to wait for the others to move past.
That's an easy one to do there, where you just catch the outside wheel, trying to get the power down, set himself up to try and straighten off that corner there. So he had Michael Healy just in front there and just picks up that little snippet of grass, and there actually went. Good awareness though to back out off the circuit though, so not get collected in anyone else coming through. Guys out front though already starting to pull away. Rizzo with a handy little 0.8 of a second lead now over Simon Nicholson. Craig Edwards sitting pretty comfortable in 3rd, and then just behind them, Byron Phillips, Martin Crisp and Michael Healy will get amongst it as well.
Ooh, that's a bit of a slot for Thomas. Of the Trent variety on his first race since season 1. Season 2, apologies, he was saying, which was a few years ago. But yeah, won his first race since then at Mosport earlier on in the year, and quite comfortably as well, albeit he did rely on an incident for the leading pair, I think, in order to get that lead on by about 5 seconds. Hasn't quite been able to follow that up. He was knocking on the door for a while, and since they hasn't come too close to a race victory, always just being beaten, usually by Michael Healy or by Ross Rizzo, his Trak Esports teammates. At least defending against Klaus Paul right there, 6/10 of a second behind Weitzel. And overtaking will not be easy around this track. You have got the hairpin at the end of the back straight. That's going to be the best opportunity for the drivers. But apart from that, it is slim pickings around this circuit. Could also go for a little bit of surprise around the fourth to final corner in the left-hand hairpin. But yeah, will be very tricky for these drivers to move up the order. Dalton just at the back of this long train at the moment.
And Dalton in just a pretty decent spot there, just sitting behind Martin Silvassi, who good to see him back up in top split after a stint back in the second split last week. But he's looking pretty formidable there. Michael Whiting in and amongst it. Looks like one of the cars getting around. That's Luke Pink, I believe, with a little bit of push and shove there in the ERT liveried car. So a little bit of work for him to do further down the order. The guys behind all starting to lean on each other between Whiting, Specchio and Pallet as well.
Specchio having a disastrous couple of corners. I love that livery, but it's helping him on that occasion. And to 20th place, Delaney on the back of Garoich. And so, Garoich actually the leader of the rookie class, and the rookie championship is a three-way fight. I will get up the points in a little bit to say a little bit more accuracy what's going on with that rookie championship, but 3 cars have all got a very good chance at winning that. And I think Garoich has won them. And so running in 16th place, by far the top of the rookie drivers after a poor start for Christopher Hughes. And that could be big for the championship. The other championship's not quite so close. Of course, the overall championship and the elites championship going very much the way of Rizzo. And the pro championship, I believe, going the way of Tom Huggan at the moment. And the amateur championship is a little bit one-sided as well. But yeah, we'll give you a little bit of a closer rundown of that later on.
Delaney struggling here to try and get up on the back of Garoich, just not enough power in that Porsche at the moment. And just quickly touching on, good to try a chance to have a look at the balance performance issues that were provided earlier through the week. So we see Jason Bence recovering on his way through, just a little bit of side-by-side with Whiting there. The BMW, Ford, Ferrari and Corvette, no weight penalties applied to them this week. And then the Porsche 991 with 12 kilos added to it. So that'll maybe hurt a little bit later on as the race unfolds. We'll see how the tyre wear goes on the Porsches. But so far, in the hands of Healy, they're the quickest placed car at the moment.
Yeah, they've done the BAP pretty well so far this season, but yeah, maybe just a little bit of an imbalance for tonight's event. But yeah, not too much weight being added to each of the cars. Carlos just off the circuit for a moment, and he's lost up to Silvassi now. It's for 13th place. Just a reminder of what the stripes mean. The purple is the elites, and then you got the green for the pros, the amber for the amateurs, and the red for the rookies. You can see here there's a mixture of colours all the way down at top 16 places at the moment. As these lead guys just struggling to get within half a second. There's a little bit of a wake in these cars. Garoich with an off, and that could be big for the championship. He's going to drop behind Whiting as well. He's down into 19th place. There he is, and it's a bit of damage as well on that car. I wonder if he'll be one of the first drivers to come into the pits to get that fast repair. If you get a fast repair, they do have to make a pit stop as well in this race. Massive shame there for Nicholas Garoich in the JP Simshed's car, but he is still, by a decent margin, the leader of the rookie drivers.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the pace has hurt him too much. I think a lot of that damage was due to the contact we saw a lap or two ago with Luke Pink there, so he'll be able to get himself back underway. Rob Crisdale now ducking in the lane just to knock over his stop, so that'll get him out of the traffic queue, and that actually might work out pretty favourably around here. If you can get a little bit of open space, you might be able to pump in a couple of good laps, especially against any of those competitors in the midfield. So we'll keep an eye on Crisdale to see how he unfolds. But Garoich really not falling too far off the back of Specchio here with that little bit of damage and the off that he had. Whiting starting to come under a lot of pressure right behind from Jason Bence working his way back up through the field. Those guys just sitting down in 20th and 21st position respectively. Bence nearly back to his starting position of the 20th spot, so Whiting already gained 4, which is a nice run for him so far in the Fisher Motorsports car.
What's this happening a little bit further up? Glaspool getting clear of Whitesall. And now Weitzel's going to defend from Sislavsky. So Weitzel was ahead of Thomas and Glasspool, wasn't he? Not sure when that change occurred. It may have happened a couple of laps ago, or maybe it was just now. But Weitzel down to 11. Sislavsky now looking likely to overtake as well, going down into the final corner. A little bit of elevation change, as you can see. And there'll be quite a lot of sand as well, gravel on the track by the end of the race, albeit the drivers just leaving a little bit to spare. I could recall the World Championship event, the Grand Prix World Championship event, which occurred here a few years ago, was very dirty at that corner by the end of the race. I think that was back in 2017, 2016, not sure. Anyway, that's Paul, still in 10th place. And pulling away from Weitzel, who could be done here by Sislavsky. Sislavsky's got a good launch. Weitzel with a slight draft from the BMW ahead. That might just be his saviour. And in fact, you can see the relative on the left side of your screen. Sislavsky not actually catching up as Huggan and Healy are alongside. And that is Healy moving ahead of... apologies, that's Healy just defending against Huggan. Huggan looking very quick at this part of the race. Started in 8th place. He's forced his rival offline again. They are losing time though to Phillips up ahead.
Yeah, really good run here from Huggan. I thought he might have been able to close the deal down into the hairpin there, but Healy putting a solid defence up, and now we'll actually dive into the lane to clear his stops. This will actually work in Tom's favour just a little bit. He should be able to gain a good bit of an advantage. He's got Byron Phillips now up ahead. There's a 2-second gap between himself and the 5th place car, so this should work out quite nicely. If we can get those solid laps in, he should be able to gain that position. He's got a bit of a space between himself and Steve Jansen behind him. You just see Jansen in the back of shot in the little rear view mirror there, and the Porsche there coming up closely behind him. Jansen already gained a couple of spots.
Ooh, a tap and a spin for Phillips. And he's going to have to rejoin very slowly. Well, that was all his fault, it seemed. I don't think there was anything suspicious from Crisp. And Phillips just getting too close. And he was quite far behind. I guess he can take different runs. He can trail break it in. And just unsettling the front of his car. You see Vettel with that kind of issue where he did just kind of... imbalance the front end of the car, and the rear cannot catch it. Phillips down to 13th. He was looking very strong.
Yeah, it also looked like maybe just that last little minute application there, because it's trying to avoid the back of Chris' car that caught him out there, but should be able to get back underway. Not too bad. Nicholson doing a fantastic job up in the 2nd position at the moment. We've got Craig Edwards closing in right behind. Edwards with a cheeky little light flash just to let him know he is on the way through. In the background there, I think that was Stevie Jansen running the Porsche wide on the final exit there, so not leaving any track options out there. Pushing very hard. These two, though, have been locked together since the start of this race, and they're really starting to hemorrhage a bit of time now to Ross Rizzo, who's extended that gap to just over 3 seconds.
Weitzel. He's gone off at turn 2. There's all kinds of issues right now for the front guys. We watched AOSC on Friday, and in race 1 at least, the same top 10 who started the race finished the race. They moved about a little bit amongst one another, but it was still the same 10 cars. Weitzel there tipping a wheel onto the grass. And it's Okayama circuit proving tricky for all these drivers. Of course, they'll have years of experience around this place, most of them taking part in the MX-5 Rookie Series around this track. It is a free circuit on iRacing. Perhaps just because it's not particularly well known. I don't think it'd be visited too much if you had to pay the $14.95. But thanks to iRacing for making this one free, and also Alton Park free as well. And that's the use of that circuit has certainly gone up in recent times as well, which is very good. Dalton already onto the back of Cullis, trying to make up 1 place. Yeah, Dalton up 7 places now. No disrespect to Amanda. I don't think she's done that many overtakes, and yet she has got up to 11th place with the troubles for the others, as Garoich is off the circuit. What's happened to Garoich? I think that's at the last corner.
Yeah, another one to go wide through that final corner. He's going to get the car back on and see if he can pull up a replay. Thank you, Mr. Newton, for that one. And have a look here. He flows through the second to last corner reasonably well. Doesn't look like any issues there. Maybe just carrying a little too much speed. The back end just snapping on rotation, and that's going to put him into the wall. So that's almost identical to what we saw just happen before to the PRT car going around at turn 3 there. So BMW is maybe just a little bit out of balance mid-corner, trying to get the rotation on them and catching a couple of drivers out, as we see a move in the background. Specchio looking to try his hand on the back of Luke Pink, just not quite close enough at the moment. Silvassi doing a really good job to hold both of these two behind him.
Only a third the way into this race. We can have a safety car, of course, potentially. But of course, you are free to come into the pits once a safety car comes out. There's no kind of oval racing rules where you got to line up and then come into the pits. You can come into the pits ASAP because we do have a manual safety car in this championship. So not too much of an advantage if it came out for any one driver necessarily. It's been interesting. I've had a couple of drivers come into the pits already, some just to fix repairs. Pit stop is mandatory in this series just because this is a fixed setup that the drivers are running. So each car has a fixed setup, and the organisers do a really good job at kind of just balancing them out. So the setups will be the same all the way through the season. There'll be no tweaks to them, just a little bit of ballast to each of the cars if one car has an advantage around a certain circuit. And of course, all the cars start with about 35 minutes worth of fuel, half an hour to 35 minutes worth of fuel. You cannot get to the full 45, but of course, if you pitted on lap 1, you could fill the tank as far as you would like and get to the 45-minute mark. So you can come in as early as you like, but usually it is best to leave it a little bit longer. And just getting frustrated in third place. Pink is really all over the back of Silvassi. Silvassi cannot shake him off. To BMW, apologies, Corvette versus BMW. We do believe that the BMW is still the fastest car down the straight. Well, of course you need good pace around the corners as well around here, but that is slightly good for Pink because a better car down the straights is a bit more risky.
Yeah, that being said, though, with the little bit of a straight line advantage we've seen from the BMW, especially when we went to Mosport, wasn't really able to be utilised as much by the drivers, and we're starting to see that again now. Pink struggling a little bit down the front straight. He might find his best option is down that long back straight in towards the hairpin. If he can get alongside Martin Silvassi, he's in with a really good shot to pull that car up and get it rotated through. We did hear from a couple of the drivers in the C8 early on that the diff settings in the C8 don't tend to work as well around here to try and get out of those slower corners, and that could really come at a compromise for Silvassi. Dalton, though, with a mirror full of Jordan Cullis, moves the car over in towards the braking zone and actually gives him a really easy run through. So that was Phillips going through, and that was very easily done for Byron Phillips as he recovers after that earlier spin or half spin that he had with Crisp.
You see the logic. Phillips is going to be faster than Dalton, but as we have been saying, overtaking is not easy. It would have been good to see Dalton put up a fight, but then at the same time, if you are a little bit by yourself and Amanda has just dropped off the back of Cullis in recent laps, it often is quite nice when you've got a quick car behind you. You let them pass and you're like, okay, hey, cause some chaos ahead, please. Go take off a few cars. So I remember in a couple of championships I've taken part in, very happy to let them go and hope that they cause a little bit of chaos, because Phillips might have a little bit of a short temper out there after that earlier mistake. Of course, around the long right-hander going onto the back straight. So we might see that move turn out quite good for Dalton. She has already dropped out of draft range though. Pink was on the back of Silvassi. He's just dropped back now, some tenths of a second. And Specchio a further 7/10 of a second behind as well. Going a little bit even further back, Chris Whitesell, who also had an off earlier on in the race. I think that was down at turn 2, his off was. He's now onto the back of another Chris. It's Chris Pellet. You can see how far these drivers are off the lead. Whitesell has pitted, but so too has Pellet, to be fair. They're both pitted. They've both got their mandatory pit stop completed. So this is for position. You would back Whites, I think, to eventually make this move. But so far, he's yet to make it.
Yeah, a little bit of work left to do to try and close that gap. Those guys, while they have pitted, still a long way off Nathan Huppert, so about 10 seconds behind. He's a bit further up the road after having that rotation we saw on lap 1 as well, and subsequent drive down the lane for his pit stop. So
to Sosowski's had now. Ooh, that could be a safety car. He is merged in the tyres. That's not going anywhere. It could be a bit embarrassing. It's not that embarrassing. I thought he was coming into the pits. Nah. Well, I mean, that's like a broken spine, but apart from that, it's all right.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. Looks like you got the trying to utilise the curb there to rotate the car through, and it's spat him a bit there out wide, and then lost the back end, picked up a little bit of the dirt, and that's ultimately what sent him around. So these cars not liking the dirt, and then to find yourself plowed into the tyre barrier like that, he is not going anywhere anytime soon.
You can get a safety car. I mean, if I've ever seen a safety car instant, that's a safety car instant, is it not?
It should well be, yeah. The car still hasn't moved yet. Ross Rizzo is in the lane. Safety car now deployed.
Here we go. I was thinking, I mean, that's like the definition of it. I mean, he's not getting that car back to the pits by any means. I mean, heck, we'd need a red flag period here to unbury that car. Albeit, I think when Kovalainen did that at Barcelona, I think they just put it under safety car, even though he was like 2 meters deep into a tyre barrier. Anyway, everyone's coming into the pits because it's not a free pit stop. Well, yeah, I guess it is. But it could still be close with the other drivers who have already come into the pits. Michael Healy is top of the drivers who has already come into the pits. He was running ahead of Huggan before the pit stops. He is ahead of Huggan still. So Healy, is he ahead of Crisp? No. So Healy, with that early stop, it hasn't worked too badly for him. It's pretty much stayed the same. And remember, of course, before he came into the pits, he was quite slow, was Healy. Oh, is he letting past Huggan? I wonder if you get a replay, Scott, of them coming out of the pits, because I'm not sure what the rule is for if you've got a speeding car, because in F1, of course, you use the safety car line, and whoever's ahead at the safety car line gets ahead. This is quite cool. I don't know why we don't usually have this same issue, because it ought to be something that comes up constantly. So, I don't know. I don't know what marker they are using for where Huggan's ahead there, but I guess when he takes the pit limiter off, Huggan is ahead. But I don't know about that one, Daniel.
I think it's a bit of a touchy one, especially with the closing rate that we would have seen from Healy there. So just probably the better part of Valor just drops in behind and allows him to go through. But he did gain a fistful of positions while everyone was stationary in the lane there. So that worked out exceptionally well for him. Another car that's come back into the fray as well, Nathan Huppert. He's now back into the 13th position. So look on board, I think might have just been Huggan marginally ahead as they tipped into that final corner there, so not much separating those guys. But now Huppert gets back to the back of the train here, and he should be in a good run to come home with the final 22 minutes in this race.
It blows my mind how that's like the first time we've ever picked up on that rule. I'm not sure what the rule is. I'm sure we'll get some clarification after the race. So Justin Cotswell in the safety car will pull away short for safety car period, and we will soon be back under green flag racing. It's Rizzo again. Edwards actually got ahead of Nicholson. Apologies, I missed that one. He was 1 second faster in the pit stop, was Edwards, so he's up into second place. That's big. And he's the one who has got the best chance of challenging the championship leader. And Rizzo keep up Trick Esports 100% winning record. We've got half the race to go here at Okayama. Already Nicholson's pretty close to the back of Edwards, but it looked as though in the first stint that Edwards was being held up by the XRC racing driver, so he should be able to pull away. Meanwhile, Benz going up against Puce. And Benz is ahead of Puce, 23rd position.
And he'll have his teammate now ahead in that car, so Delbreed ahead of them. Further back, Trent Thomas now behind Steve Jansen, so a little bit of work for him to do to try and close the gap there. Everyone else filing through pretty comfortably in a single file here. Move in the background, I think that might be Phillips just sticking the nose out, and 3 wide into the hairpin. That's a big move.
That was all very close quarters between the lots of them. So that's colours ahead of Bowen and Hubbard's point. I'm not sure he was ahead of all of that just before. Bowen on the start of this lap was actually 9th place. So Bowen's had an awful lap. He's lost 3 places to various drivers. So that is a shame for him. It looked like he, in fact, he hasn't even come to the pits yet, Bowen. He should have come into the pits. In hindsight, that he does a little bit too late for Avatar Auto Racing. Avatar 2 coming out at some point. That's slightly off topic. Rizzo still leading the way, half a second ahead of Craig Edwards. 6/10 of a second, and that's pulled out by about a 10th. Edwards has got used to seeing the back of that Rizzo car. I mean, if you take away the Chick Esports cars, Edwards would have probably had a dominant season, frankly. Even more of a dominant season that Rizzo's had. I think he would probably be on about 7 or 8 victories by now. Instead, he's on zilch. I think he will get a race win by the end of the season. I don't think Rizzo's dominance has quite been on the same scale as James Scott's dominance in AOSC, because Rizzo hasn't necessarily been the fastest driver all round, albeit Scott hasn't either. But I do think Rizzo will eventually be beaten by Edwards. But 3/4 of a second at the moment today might not be that day. You really have to have a perfect qualifying and a perfect race and have a bit of fortune on your side as well to beat the informed man in this championship. Here is Chris. He's got a bit of a queue behind him. He's got his teammate Tom Huggan behind him, and he's got his teammate Simon Nicholson ahead of him. Any team games you think could be played here? Because Huggan usually has more race pace than Crisp, so it might be worth... Oh, we got a BMW almost spinning round in the background. That was Glaspool. It's lost out to Phillips. But yeah, any team games potentially from the XRC drivers to maybe move Huggan ahead of Crisp?
No, I don't think so. I think if there were team orders, we wouldn't have seen that contact we saw in Indianapolis between those guys. So they're all racing for the positions, and I think good on them. They're all getting in amongst it. And I mean, XRC have been probably one of the standout teams that have really shot up through the ranks over the course of the last 2 seasons, and rightfully finding their way through here at the moment. So look for them to come through. Glaspool seems to have recovered that car after that massive wiggle that he had up onto the front straight there, and he will have definitely want to back it off just a fraction as we go from one set of teammates at XRC down to the Fishy Motorsport guys down in 16th and 17th, having a little bit of a battle here between Dyke and Whiting. Whiting just not quite close enough to get the move done. Aaron Specchio sniffing around for another positional change. It looks like Whiting will actually get ahead on the exit of the hairpin.
Ooh, contact. And that's going to be wide, and 3 wide. Oh, that was... Whoever backed out of that one in the Corvette, that was smart. Specchio going the long way round. Whitesell. Oh no, he's gone straight into the back of him. Well, Aaron, use your brakes, because he was not nearly making that corner there. I don't know what was going on there. Aaron Specchio usually a very good driver, but that was... I'm sure it was just a mistake, but totally misjudged that. Perhaps just... not getting a visual of the car alongside him. Well, he's up into 17th, albeit I think a drive-through will be waiting for him. It's Bence now in 18th. I think it was Bence who stood on the brakes in order to avoid the incident ahead, which may have been just behind Ben's pellet. Perhaps got on the brakes, but yeah, that could have been a lot worse than what it turned out. And Chris Whitesell having a very annoying day. Had the off earlier on when running in the top 10, and he's just had another issue there, and he's down into 24.
Yeah, not a really good night for him there. Hopefully he'll be able to get that car back underway and work his way further forward. Whitesell starting to get back up to speed following that contact, so he should be not too bad. Doesn't look like any damage on that car either. You have to be cautious though. He's got Jesse Butler having a sniff around the back as well in the Porsche there from Mike One Esports. Might be able to get a move done as you guys locking up the brakes down towards the hairpin. But looks like everyone's now settled themselves back down. That fight between Bence and Specchio has continued off a little further up. Not much separating those two, but they've managed to clear a little bit ahead as Pink looks to have a move down the inside there of Chris Pallett, not quite close enough to get that done in the BMW.
So a long chain going all the way back to 27th place, Christopher Hughes. All the rookie drivers doing quite poorly today. Guroich in 23rd, you've got Warwick in 26th, Hughes in 27th, and Hughes in 28th. I believe it is currently Hughes leading the championship. There, yes, Hughes leading the way. Then it's Warwick, then it's Hughes. Those are the three you need to watch out for. Guroich is out of it, hasn't scored enough points. But yeah, Hughes, Warwick, and Hughes in that order is the current championship. About 100 points between each of them, which can easily be whittled down. Yeah, they need some good results amongst them, and they are all together on circuit. No big points being scored against one another. Also, the top two drivers in the Pro Championship, that's the green stripe, are Crisp and Huggan. And so I was saying earlier on whether there would be any team orders. I think you're right, Daniel, in that there won't be team orders, and of course to compound to that, they're going for the championship between one another. Certainly won't be any team orders. Chris did beat Huggan, I think, by 1 or 2 places last time out at Motegi, maybe just the 1 place. So he's slowly getting that down, but he needs a little bit more than that if he's going to catch up by the end of this season as a drive-through penalty for 326 car, and that is Aaron Specchio, and that's kind of what we expected down at the hairpin.
Yeah, expecting that to come through. That was relatively quick there from race control. The other thing you got to consider too for the guys in XRC is it's all about the bragging rights as well. You don't want to be you always want to be the first man to come home for the team and get that little extra notch in the belt. And I think those guys continuing on. Nicholson has gained a few of those already. No doubt Chris and Hagen would love to get their fair share. We know Martin Crisp joined us at Indy with a fantastic run that he had there, but he'll love to get up there again if he has the opportunity to do so. Michael Healy closing in momentarily in the Trak Esports car just behind Tom Hagen there. And this could be an ominous sign to see whether there's a change of position a little further back.
Seen very few moves in this top 10 positions. Healy looking pretty good though through the final couple of corners. Is that just a little bit of wake though around the final corner? Does seem tricky to kind of break within 0.4 of a second or so. And the straight's just not long enough. There's not a big slipstream in these cars either. Must say though, as a driver, I like these tricky to overtake circuits, and even as a spectator as well. Maybe it just reminds me of Formula 1 when there's no overtaking, but I do quite like the lack of overtaking. It rises the tension to make a move. You've really got to work hard for it. Pink is almost past Bence. In fact, actually, was that Bence getting past Pink? No, I think that's Pink trying to attack. Here he goes into the right-hander. And he is up into 17th place. Now, Bence will have a good exit here. And he's all over the back of them. They both run slightly wide, maybe even had to lift out the throttle slightly. Flashing the lights. It's getting pretty dark here at Okayama, actually. Now looks to the inside, does Luke Pink. And approaches out Bence looking to the inside. And Pink letting that go pretty easy. You can go around the outside. Nicholson with an off, and he's down. And he might lose out to Janssen. Can he keep it on the inside? XRC's 3-4-5 has come to an end. And Nicholson, who was running as high as second place earlier on, qualified second on the grid. Well, he's been able to recover against Janssen pretty well, but that is just an unforced error there because Crisp wasn't that close to him.
Oh yeah, look at the replay to see what unfolded there. I think it might have been just Nicholson picking up potentially just a little bit of tyre or picking up the grass there as he tipped it in, actually losing the back on the entry there. So that's an unfortunate one. Lucky to get the car out of harm's way and get back underway, and he's going to have a lot of work to do. Those tyres need to cool off just momentarily. To see him move in the background there, that's Byron Phillips now trying to go down the inside of Trent Thomas. He'll get that move completed on the exit there, and now sets the sights forward on Steve Janssen just ahead.
Nice move. I like that one. That was, I think, caught him a little bit unawares. Phillips was slightly early on the grid because he had 2 cars ahead quite close, and Phillips very much took advantage of that. Very close are these 4 drivers. Can Nicholson get himself back up to the back of the cars ahead? Well, we've still got 11 more races to go. Still got a while to go. We still have another safety car. For all you know, although the safety cars are usually quite rare late on in the race. So it's Crisp now up into 3rd place, and that is more points for his championship, albeit he is still only outscoring Hagen by 1 position, which is about 5 points, and he's about 100 points clear, I think, at the moment, is Hagen. So, you know, it's better than nothing, but he needs some big results at the end of the season to come back. Here is Huppets after his misdemeanor on the first lap of the race. What could have been for Huppets? He could have been running in 3rd place right now. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, maybe top 5 could have been for Huppets. He's 11.5 seconds off the lead. He's got Cullis just ahead. We're getting too close to turn 2 then.
No, it looks like the C8 just struggling a little bit through that high-speed mid-corner section, not able to pick up the drive. It's really good under brakes, though, seeing him get the nose in. So we've got a car off.
Phillips and Thomas. And Delaney's gone off. I think he's been involved in that. Here it was, Phillips defending down the inside, Thomas around the outside, and Phillips sliding. Well, I don't think Thomas did a whole lot wrong there. And then, was there another car involved? No, there was a separate incident for another driver, I think. But that is a shame right there. Byron Phillips, pretty much out of the race. We will have to get a fast repair to fix all of that damage, and it promotes Janssen up into 7th.
Yeah, it looks like he's really struggling to get that car back as well, just stepping out of the way and letting everyone else work their way through. But a bit of an awkward situation for both of those 2 cars there, and fortunate for their end to end the way it did. Dale Breed looking pretty comfortable at the moment, gained 7 spots from where he started, currently sitting in 18th position. He's got Rob Cruisdale just behind him for JPS Simsheds. It's trying to get off or back up towards his teammate in the form of Jason Benstead. He's just a couple of seconds up the road. Been a really good run here so far for Dale Breed.
Oh, here's Huppets. All of a sudden, this is over 9th place now, though he's really messed up that corner, has Huppets. Very unique geography around this. Like, you got that big kind of, it's like, geez, I did geography GCSE, but I'm just going to say there's a big stone there. You know, that's, I don't know what type of hill that is, but it looks like a rock, you know. It's quite weird, and it does distract me when I'm racing around here. And of course the forest as well, lots of elevation around this circuit. It is a cool track, this. You can see that banking as well. This circuit kind of carved through the hills. But incredibly awkward to get to. And that's part of the reason why F1 didn't visit here again, along with the fact that I think the 2 races here were rather dull. Cullis in 9th place. Huppets, despite that mistake, right onto the back of him again. It's not letting him have this one. Janssen a comfortable 7th. I don't recall Janssen running as high as 7th this season so far, Daniel. You may be able to correct me on this one, but the privateer, I believe, having his best race of the season.
Yeah, Janssen's been one of those standout drivers, not signed to a team at the moment, but been thereabouts in the events that we have seen him at. We didn't see him last week at Mategi. Not sure for the reasons why, but for the times that he's been in the circuit, he's been exceptionally good, and he's been really taking it to that front running trios at the moment. So looking forward to seeing what he can do, especially as the race unfolds. And we've got just on 7 minutes. We've still got 2 more races left in the championships. There's still some good point opportunities for him to get on the way through. But it's a really solid run so far for the championship for Janssen.
There was a drive-through penalty for Christopher Hughes, rookie championship leader, and that is going to drop him a few places. With the issues for the other drivers, we've now got Warwick and Hughes in 21st and 22nd. Issue for Garoich as well, he's down to 27th. But Hughes, best part of a lap down now. He will finish in 28th place, and his championship lead will diminish. Bad news for Warwick and Hughes. They have got Thomas quite close to the back of there. Actually, no, he's actually 11 seconds to Thomas, so they're all right there. So Warwick and Hughes will be able to close up this championship. We have Spa next time. And 2 more races, did you say, Daniel, until the end of the season?
Yeah, that's correct. So we've got Spa next week, which will be a bit of a crowd favourite for everyone involved. And then the final race at Zolder. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the racing that Zolder's going to bring up, because that's a fantastic little circuit to get around.
We run the Apex Racing League GT Championship, which is on tonight. 50 drivers on 50 teams on the grid, 100 drivers on the grid. Looking forward to that one. Later on, you can catch that on Apex Racing TV. But when we asked which tracks drivers would like to visit, and that's a GT circuit as well, a GT series as well, Zolder was one of the most popular that people want to visit, more popular than Zandvoort even. But we haven't visited in those cars yet. Probably next season we will make a visit to Zolder. So it is quite popular. At the same time, it's very unpopular among some drivers, and we could see a safety car around there as well. We remember a huge pile-up we had in World GT about a year and a half ago around that circuit, where a lot of cars were involved in a crash just over the crest after the initial chicane. Unfortunately, hopefully we won't see anything like that again. But incidents will be of plenty at Zolder. That would be a cool championship finale. Of course, we had Belle Isle a couple of seasons ago as well. That was very dramatic, wasn't it? When Harper's had his internet connection failure and gifted the championship to Timothy Beeben. I don't think it'll be quite that close in the championship this season, because this man, Ross Rizzo, we will probably be able to call the champion at the end of next week. Dare I say, you may even have the championship wrapped up already after this round, but we won't call it. I think we'll call it after next week, when we know that there's just one more drop round to go, and with his drop score so strong, he will be uncatchable should he finish the next couple of races and consolidate this win. You can see it's not a big time difference. That's the story of the season, isn't it? Maybe a tenth, if that, between Rizzo and Edwards, but Rizzo just having the advantage in qualifying, and he's been able to hold that advantage ever since.
Yeah, and really now at this point in the late stage of the race, just managing that gap, and he's putting every foot right where he needs to do it, and just filing his way through. He's got no one ahead of him for quite a while, so it should be unimpeded the whole way through for the remainder of the race. There are some back markers down on that back straight there, but looking good at the moment. But this championship's really all been put together all the way through, right from the very first round at Donington, where he took the win there, and it was that awesome little decision to do the double pit stop, which we again saw later on at Barber under the safety car as well. And it's all those strategy calls that have really worked well for this team and given them the position they're in right now. Take nothing away from the other guys, they've put on some fantastic driving. I think Craig Edwards, as you were saying earlier, Sam, really stepped up fantastically well in the C8 to get where he is. Just a little bit of unfortunate results headed his way.
Yeah, probably the best season I've seen Edwards put together. But it's going to be second best once again, as he has come accustomed to in recent seasons. Healy got ahead of Huggan down into the right-hander, so I wonder if we can get a replay of Healy overtaking Huggan. That's for 4th position. That is, no, apologies, I thought that was between teammates, but of course it's not. Trick Esports going ahead of XRC, and this is going to be quite conventional. It's such a wide part of the circuit here. Oh, that was a good move. That's a very good move. And a little bit of contact. It could be a penalty for that. No, we saw a penalty given for a similar incident when battling for the lead back at Virginia. And so if they're going to follow that, then maybe we could see a penalty. I don't know, Hagen left quite a lot of space. We'll see what the stewards think about that one. Yeah, Healy up into... Oh, what's happened to Edwards? Oh no, is that a commentator's curse? Where's Edwards? Where's he gone? Has he disconnected? Has he crashed? He is going through the final... Oh no! Something happening in the real world.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Although he managed to get the car going, I wonder if just a minor lapse of concentration, potential hardware issue. Really unfortunate there for him. And he's now dropped from what was looking like a second place well in the books there, down now to the 12th position. And that's a really heartbreaking way to finish out tonight's run.
And Chris got to second, which I believe would be his best ever result in the series. Certainly never won a race. I don't know. We used to have multi-class racing in this as well, so my history of this series is not perfect. We should have a sport call quiz like we have on ARL GT. Sport call, the best division tour. Delaney and Pink are alongside. Delaney is ahead. Nice move. Blake Delaney in the Fishing Motorsports Cup. Didn't have a very good AOSC round. Hupperts is ahead of Cullis with an issue. And that will promote Edwards up a place. We might even come across these guys just in a moment because he's still off the track. Where is he? There he is! On the inside, he can't even get back going. There's tyres in the way, mate. You're going to have to steer around them. And how much... Oh, we've got another off. Pellets. Ah, Chris Pellet's done a good job today. Fusion Sim Racing. Works hard to get back up into 16th place, but he'll fall outside the top 20. That means Warwick now is up into 20th and Puce in 21st. So that's good news for those rookie drivers, and that will help them take out a few more points from the championship leader, Christopher Hughes. So yeah, good for them. Meanwhile, as the late, he took pole position. He led from the start. He held on during the safety car period. There's been no stopping him. And it's going to be another race victory. It's 6 in a row, I believe, for Ross Vizay, who wins at Okayama. And we can't say he's won the championship yet, but he's pretty much there. Chris, with a brilliant second place, top of the pro drivers, beating Healy, who had to pull up a few very good overtakes. It will be interesting to get a word with Healy later on to get his thoughts on that safety car decision. Bent ahead of Delaney, but here comes Delaney, using all the horsepower of the Porsche, but it's not enough to beat the C8. It's Bentz who beats Delaney 14th and 15th places. Warwick will be top of the rookie drivers, and Warwick, who came into this round in second place in the championship, will not be far behind Christopher Hughes now. That one will be close. So the rookie championship, if it wasn't already on, it is well on now. Can Geroij beat Hughes and crucially take a few more points out of him? These are a smattering of points that we're talking about. It's just one position here, one position there, but it really could make the difference. And Geroij does beat Hughes 27th and 28th places, last of the runners. Well, Daniel, we've seen some pretty dramatic races in this championship in the past. I wouldn't say that was the most dramatic, but it was a confusing race, wasn't it? Lots of mistakes from the drivers, and a circuit that we thought that the drivers would be quite used to, frankly. Yeah, was a very good watch. Not a whole lot of overtaking, but when there was, it was spectacular.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, towards the end there, no one wanted to stay on the circuit. Everyone was throwing it off wide and finding a wall or a tyre barrier at the end there. But all in all, the racing that we did see, fantastic up and down throughout the field. You were spot on about how difficult it was going to be for all these guys to get the passes done. And we did see a few that were a little unclean and untidy, and those promptly got addressed with by race control. But all in all, racing quite good. I'm surprised just how well everyone hung in there. We thought early on the C8 might have had a bit of a struggle, and I think we're on for a fantastic result. They're really unfortunate for Craig Edwards to lose it in that final corner, a couple of laps from home. But everyone else did a stellar job out there, and no doubt looking forward to heading to Spa next week.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can go through your final order then for this round 10 of the championship and the return for the sprint meetings. And of course, winning out once again was Ross Rizzo. Martin Crisp in second place, 8 seconds ahead. Crisp top of the pro drives dance. Healy Huggan loses a few points in that championship battle between himself and Crisp, but if they keep on scoring similar to that to the end of the season, then it will be Crisp with the advantage. Apologies, it will be Huggan with the advantage. Nicholson, running in second place for a while, ends up in fifth, but rounds out a very good meeting for XRC. Then it was Steve Jansen, James Glaspool, Nathan Huppert's good recovery for him after first lap spin. Martin Silvassi wasn't massively quick out there, Silvassi, but did really good to finish in ninth place. So too did Amanda Dalton. She's got a bit of a reputation now for getting the most out of the car. Craig Edwards finishes in 11th with that off, which was a strange one. Strange for Edwards in 11th place. Must have been like a freeze or a hardware issue, as Daniel was saying. Then it was Michael Whiting, top of the amateur drivers. Well done to Whiting there. Had a pink, and there was Jason Bentz, Blake Delaney, Dale Braid, Robert Crisdale, Jesse Butler, Jordan Cullis. Top of the rookie drivers was Paul Warwick, who closes in that rookie championship. Then it was John Puce, Chris Pellet, Trent Thomas, Jamie Dyke, Shane Bowen, Chris Weitzel, Nicholas Garoich, and Christopher Hughes. They were all on the lead lap. The retirees behind them were Byron Phillips, Aaron Specchio, Scott Sislowski, and also, that was it. The others were the stewards, of course, and thanks to Justin Cotsville, who got a lap or two in the safety car. Must have loved it. Where is everyone? Rizzo always has a chat with us. But you were going to have a chat then with Daniel, with Martin. Daniel, so I will let you have the first interview with our second place man, Martin Crisp.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Martin, congratulations on a stellar drive, mate. Yourself and the XRC boys sitting quite comfortably. You had 3 of you up inside the top 5 there for a long portion of that race. Tell us about how it was for you in the Fords there tonight.
Thanks, Daniel, and thanks, Sam. It was good. It didn't entirely go to plan for Simon or Simo. Poor guy, he just lost it in one particular corner. I feel really, really bad for him because he was on pace. And Tommy got passed by, I guess, Michael. I didn't see the pass, but I know there was some rubbing involved, so I'll have to go see how that was. But anyway, it was a good race. We had decent pace, not Ross Rizzo pace, but we had decent pace, and I was pretty lucky to inherit second, I think.
Yeah, talking about the pace, I mean, XRC really come on strong over the course of this championship. We remember the really solid run yourself and the team had at Indy. Looks like you guys have really got to grips with the Ford now and the pace that it's able to deliver. Do you think there's much left in the tank that you might be able to extract over the final couple of races this championship?
I hope so. We keep working hard and we keep finding that little bit more. I don't think we're done yet in terms of advancing our pace. But it's hard, like that extra half a tenth is hard to find, and we just keep working hard at it. And the good news is that there's a few of us that are all about the same pace, and we just keep pushing each other on the team, and that just generates more speed inherently. So yeah, we'll see what we can do, but we'll work at it. And that Ross is clearly the guy to beat this year. I don't think we're going to get to that level, but we'll have fun and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely. Next week, we're off to Spa. A bit of a crowd favourite for everyone in the championship. Everyone knows their way around that circuit exceptionally well. how do you think your chances are going into that one? First off, how do you think the car will fare, and how's the team likely to perform out there?
I think Spa has never been a good track for me, so I have a lot of work to do to get some pace there. I seem to get too many off tracks in quali and can't put a good lap together in quali, and then in race, it is what it is. But it's a fun track. We like it. Simon's very good there. Tom's good there. Jordan, good to see Jordan back tonight. He's had some computer issues for the last few months. Yeah, but he finally got a graphics card that he can run again. And he's very good there. So I think we'll have 4 or 5, reasonably quick guys on the team up there. And if Nick comes back out, come on back, Nick. He loves Spa and he's always quick there. So it's good.
Fantastic, mate. Well, again, congratulations on a solid result for tonight. It was really awesome to see yourself and the team performing at the level you were performing at. And before we let you go, enjoy the celebrations. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to?
Yeah, thanks to my teammates, mainly, Tommy and Simo and everybody. I mean, they're all a great bunch of guys. We have a lot of fun together. But I also like to thank our sponsors like Simcore, which I use their Indie wheel, which is awesome. And Track Racer has been really helpful to us. I just actually upgraded my rig to a TR 160, so I'm really happy with that. A lot more adjustability. And of course, my company, LearnSetup.com, which helps people find their setups. So that's what I'd like to thank. And thank you guys for the awesome job you do. It's always entertaining to go and watch the stream afterwards. So thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries. Again, congratulations on the solid result, and hope to see you back out next week at Spa.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Martin Crisp there for XRC Racing, your second place man tonight. We've now got our race winner in for a chat with us. Ross Vise is in the commentary box. Congratulations, Ross, on another race victory. Bit more easy than Motegi, this one. You got pole, you led from the start, you led every lap. Looks pretty easy.
Yeah, and it's everything but, I assure you. I mean, this track, you're always just millimeters away from disaster, because you've got to use all the track but be super smooth, and sometimes you're braking on those white lines, and you find yourself a millimeter or two out, you're braking on grass, and that's straight into the fence. So yeah, it's definitely not easy. I definitely had Craig keeping me honest in that second stint there. I mean, his pace was really, really good. He was just matching me lap for lap, and I was wondering, what if I just throw in like a cheeky, I don't know, high 26 and see if he just matches that or something? Because this is a bit insane. I was pumping out good lap times and he was just matching them. So far from easy. So I knew a lot of the good work was done from getting pole position. XRC's lap times, definitely raised some eyebrows, getting ahead of Craig, and I knew I'd have to, have a decent run in quality to have any chance of beating him, which so got that done, and it was still very, very nerve-wracking trying to hold the spot.
We earlier on in the season we saw Michael Healy being able to kind of beat you, of course, on occasion at Alton Park, and also Barber, of course, he had seemingly the pace advantage. Also Trent Thomas as well, your teammate, at times having an advantage. Can you put your finger on why the pace between you Trak Esports guys kind of varies from round to round? Because today you seem to have quite an easy pace advantage, especially in qualifying, when at other rounds it's very close between you. Can you put your finger on why that is?
I think it comes down to more or less car strengths. I mean, this week, Michael was saying he was struggling out of the slow speed corners, which certainly surprised me. But you need a good front end to actually get any kind of turn, and the Porsche does not do that particularly well. So that's where he struggled this week. We know the BMW has not had a good time since the iRacing balanced performance. So there's no real surprise it's not quite there, but it is a track to track, and driver, so sometimes the driver will come into it. I don't know what kind of tracks I'm suiting at the moment. Typically I'd like the flowy tracks, but since I've got decent pedals since the end of the last season, my threshold braking's gotten a lot better, so the stop start stuff's really good for me now. So I think it's just more having a rounded approach, and just those little half a tenth or half, sorry, not half a tenth, like half a thousandth or half a hundredth makes a huge difference over the course of a lap when the racing's so close.
With the drop score, we should be able to call you champion next week, as long as you finish. We should be able to call that. You ordered a couple of bottles of champagne yet, or what's your plan for the celebration?
Call me superstitious, but there's been no, too many thoughts about that. I know it's a case of just keep doing what I'm doing. If I keep that drop round in my pocket, I know it's pretty much there. But you can never call anything early, so it's a case of head down. But I do have some cold beers just to work off, the sweats that I'm building in these bloody races. They're non-stop, and the tracks we've been at, you work hard at these tracks. The calendar's been like that with these clubman style circuits. You don't really get much of a breather here at any racetrack, so typically get out with a big sweat patch on the back, and a good beer works well. Works well, I think, for everyone involved. So, or whatever poison or drink they choose. I think everyone deserves one after these races.
Yes, you deserve one more than any other, because that is another race win. Ross, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, first of all, commiserations to Craig. He had a weird software glitch that put him in the fence with 2 to go, and he deserved P2 today. That was really unfortunate. So heart goes out to Craig and Fusion Sim Racing for that one. And a big thanks to the guys at Trak Esports. Trak Custom Fabrications, and Pro Sim Gear.
Great. Well, thanks for having a talk with us, Ross. And hopefully you can keep up this winning run into the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Thanks very much, guys.
Ross Rizzo, your race winner again. And well, I was trying to get him to admit that he bought some champagne, because it is looking very good for him in the championship. It could change. I think it might already be mathematical, but he's looking very strong. Anyway, Daniel, next time we go to Spa, and usually we would say, oh, that's quite a normal circuit, but with the calendar that we've had going to many of these smaller tracks, that's going to be a little bit unusual for the drivers. You've got long straights, you've got a very built-up pit area. Of course, it's one of the longest circuits, or it is the longest circuit I think we'll visit this season. Will be a different challenge for the drivers next time out, but of course it's one that the drivers know like the back of their hand.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Spa's going to deliver up for all our drivers out there. I think, these guys know their way around that circuit like the back of their hand. The GTE cars are going to be phenomenal around there, especially up through a Rouge, down off the Camel Straight. We're going to see a huge amount of overtaking and passing opportunities for all concerned. So I think racing standards are going to be exceptionally high. Don't want to put the mockers on Rizzo yet, but I do want to see him do a shoey if he gets the championship in typical Aussie fashion. That would be fantastic. But all in all, he's in a really good position. I think going into it, probably the challenge is going to come back again from the likes of XRC, Fusion Sim Racing, and again, hard luck to Craig Edwards, the system issues that he befell him a couple of laps from the end. But those guys will all be there to fight for it, and I'm sure that these guys are all going to want to do what they can to get that final victory and take it away, so that Ross Rizzo and Trak Esports don't get the clean sweep.
Yeah, that'd be crazy, wouldn't it? I mean, Trak Esports, who'd barely won a couple of races last season, if they could get the clean sweep, it's getting closer, and they're quite odds-on favourites to do that. It will probably happen, but I'm sure the others will give them a good run for their money. You've been watching the Trak Racer GT series. Big thanks to Trak Racer for their support of the series. If you're looking to upgrade your rig, like I think it was Martin Chris, wasn't it? You were saying how he's gone to Trak Racer recently. If he likes it, he's just got second place. I can get second place, so go to Trak Racer to upgrade your rig. Got so many options on Trak Racer, so certainly do check them out. Also, Acuta safety equipment. and also rigging equipment as well. Big thanks to them for sponsoring this series and the AOSC Super Series. Thanks to Race Management Service as well, and also Black Wolf Graphics as well. For all of their sponsorship of the series. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to Apex Racing TV. We are still transitioning from the Esports Network to Apex Racing TV. Just a reminder that nothing will be on the Esports Network, so if you occasionally watch any of our streams on the Esports Network, then make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing TV so you can catch all of our streams in American time zones and also European and Australian as well. We really are broadcasting races from around the world day in, day out. We'll be back with you at Spa for the penultimate round of the championship, where we could crown our overall champion, and we might also be able to crown a couple of our other champions as well in the other divisions. My name is Sabine Sam Fitzpatrick. Daniel Leeds has been alongside. Scott Newton has been operating the cameras. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time out then at Spa for the penultimate round of the Track Racer GT Series.